In the upper Midwest, businesses and families who have staked their livelihoods on outdoor recreation are adjusting to changing weather patterns. Muth Harley Davidson, a family-owned business based in Black River Falls, sells snowmobiles during the off-season. In the U.S., snowmobiling alone creates $9 billion in revenue, so this changing weather pattern means more to Muth's business than others.
In 1965, Al and Jerry, my mom and dad, started the business. We started snowmobiles in 1970 and motorcycles in 1965.
I got involved in 1984. I don't think people realize what we do behind the scenes and making a business work and be successful.
Being we've been in business for 50 years, we've seen a lot of ups and downs with the snowmobile and the motorcycle business. Weather plays a very important part in both of those businesses.
Snowmobiling and other recreational activities rely heavily on high levels of snowfall. More than 23 million people participate in winter sporting activities each year, adding an estimated $12.2 billion in economic value to the U.S. economy. Superintendent at Black River Falls State Forest, Peter Bakken, knows what it's like for these businesses and how important these climate shifts can affect them.
Recreation is one of the larger economic drivers in the state. People obviously value spending time in the outdoors.
Temperatures in the Midwest have been above average this winter by 60%, and the global average temperature has increased by 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit over the past century, and it is predicted to grow by 3.7 by 2025. In an increase by just 2 degrees, you would expect to see 15% reduction in crops, 10% more amount of rainfall, and 400% more areas burned from wildfire in the western areas. Sporadic snowfalls are making it difficult to have any sort of consistent recreational activity and revenue.
Yeah, it was a very poor winter for snow this year. Usually in this area you get more clippers that you depend on for getting like 3 inches here, 3 inches there, and we didn't get any of those this year, so it was a very unusual winter.
The lack of snow the last 2 years has had a drastic effect on our snowmobile business. The snowmobile business, we usually sell 30 to 40 snowmobiles a year. We have sold probably 15 to 20 snowmobiles.
We order clothing for the snowmobile season, and we do that a year out ahead of time. So you try to predict what it's going to be like in a year, and that's sometimes a little tough.
Mark's son, Alec, who hopes to take over the business in the future, watches these changes that are happening.
For snowmobiling, there wasn't enough snow, obviously. The snowmobile trails were only open for about a week this year.
And if you have a year like this where the snow's melting early and we get a lot of precipitation and the trails are getting inundated, wet, a lot of times they close before March 15th.
That's a problem for the business also because nobody wants to buy a snowmobile when it's 50 degrees outside.
There are other sources of revenue for Muth's Harley Davidson, where motorcycle sales thrive throughout the U.S., creating $6 million in revenue a year, and they adjust as best as they can when the weather does not cooperate.
When there's no snow, then the Harleys can come out and we start selling those.
This last fall was very good for the motorcycle business because we rode motorcycles into November, and the new motorcycles seem like they're selling very well at this time of the year.
Muth's hope that these adjustments and changes can make the business thrive in the future.
I'm 55 years old, so I hope in 10 years to be able to retire, and we'll see. My son is 20. We'll see if he wants to be in the business.
And I always wanted to work on something when I was little and get my hands dirty.